Welcome, Dolphins fans, haters, and everyone in between to your favorite show discussing the greatest franchise in sports, the Miami Dolphins. This is the PhinsPod. My name is Moose, your host, and today we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins' 34-31 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Wow, what a game that was. Amazing performances all around, and obviously it is great to come out on the winning side, but I think almost everyone who watched the duel between both offenses found it just as exciting. Kyler Murray was incredible to watch, but it was even better to come out with the win. And as always, we'll take a quick look over at the latest stories published over at PhinsPod.com. Let's dive in.
3rd and 4, pressure coming. Tua steps up. He can run for the first, and he puts a move on Buda Baker and gets the first down. That brings the ball out towards midfield. 1st down and 10. Tua wants more in the air, fires a dart over the middle, and Devontae Parker with the catch. A flag is down at in the secondary. Tua is 5 for 5 on this drive. Spins the wrong way, stays on his feet, sneaks through. Tua down the middle and down to the 10. Looking end zone, he's got a man. Gesicki is in for the touchdown. What a drive by Tua and the Dolphins.
So after, suffering that injury against Mississippi State last year, Tua sort of had a long road back to this point that we're at right now. He dominated college football. He was the most efficient passer in the history. He is still the most efficient passer in college football history. Won a national championship, Heisman contender. He was a national name. And then the injury happened. People sort of wrote him off a little bit. And I felt like yesterday was Tua reintroducing himself to the world. That was an amazing performance, and we're going to talk about that at length later in the show. But let's just kind of talk a little bit more overall, some takeaways. The Dolphins' defense continued to show that they are vulnerable to mobile quarterbacks, and we do need to give Kyler Murray some love. He's not just any mobile quarterback. I think everyone saw that with their eyes, regardless of his stature, the air raid system he played in college and people being worried if it translated. There's just a baller mentality that he has, and it was apparent. He's dynamic, deadly accurate, smart. He knows his system. It's the same one he ran in college. Cliff Kingsbury and him, were together in college, and Cliff has adapted a lot of the Oklahoma stuff to the pro game. And again, that has made the transition easier. And we saw not just his arm. I mean, he had that beautiful pass to Christian Kirk and the almost interception, but very accurate throw, just a contested and risky pass. But he didn't really miss much. I mean, there was a 3rd and short in the 4th quarter where he shot it a little too wide and low on an out route. As he rolled out to the right. So, there were a couple instances of, him potentially, if he put the ball in a better spot, the receiver would have been able to sort of catch it and run. But overall, I mean, he had a 97 out of 100 QBR. He was incredible. He was really good. He went 21 for 26, 283 yards, and 3 passing touchdowns. On top of that, he ran 11 times for over 100 yards, I believe 106 to be exact, giving him 389 total yards of offense, and as well as a rushing touchdown. So 4 combined touchdowns and nearly 400 yards of combined offense. He was the engine and the car for the Cardinals offense, and no one else really single-handedly killed us. It was him. And I think, we all like to think back to those 3rd and shorts. The Dolphins defense did a good job of stopping the run. And Kyler was able to continue those drives by assessing, the field, looking at the coverage, realizing that things were locked down, and he needed to make a play. And he did it time and time again, sometimes just enough to get a first down, sometimes 25 yards down the field. He broke the defense's back on multiple drives. And look, at the end of the day, a guy like Kyler Murray, someone who's in the MVP conversation in only his 2nd year, he's going to do that to you. He's the number 1 pick for a reason. And a couple of years ago, if you remember, Dolphins fans, I know I really wanted him. I still put him at a higher level than Tua. I mean, it was apparent, Tua was amazing. And I think long term, we'll see with health and things along those lines. Now, I'm not even talking about Tua with health. I'm talking about Kyler, because so much of his game is dictated on the fact that he can escape the pocket, and you have to respect that. So if he does lose some of that quickness over time, that could hurt. But it's not like he lacks in accuracy at all or arm strength. So, he can, I think, eventually adapt to a pocket passer, even though a lot of people don't think that's plausible. The way the game is now, it's 7-on-7 out there. I mean, Russell Wilson has set the blueprint for quarterbacks to be able to do that, and Kyler Murray, I think, is going to take it a little bit further going down the line. Miami did manage to contain Chase Edmonds, which was huge. And Arizona was potentially missing Kenyon Drake. I would have actually liked to see Kenyon Drake just from a entertainment standpoint. I would like to see what he had to say about Miami shipping him out. I have a feeling the Dolphins defense would have a little bit more to say there, but Edmonds rushed the ball a whopping 25 times, but he only managed 70 yards per carry. So overall, I just don't think the Cardinals were able to get much going on the ground, forcing them to be one-dimensional. But even when in that one dimension, there are layers. If it's a passing game, normally you got a pocket passer and you make them one-dimensional, the defense tees up and they drop people back in coverage, they blitz. You can't do that with Kyle. You have to constantly change it up. So the best thing you can do is try to knock him out of rhythm, and he wasn't out of rhythm. Christian Kirk led all receivers. I mean, he had an amazing game. He came out of nowhere. I was more concerned about Larry Fitzgerald and Andy Isabella, but Christian Kirk led all receivers with 123 yards, but he only had 5 catches. So that indicated that the stats were inflated from that big touchdown play that tied the game up at 14. The Cardinals' defense was able to get to Tua for 3 combined sacks, but there could have been way more if it wasn't for the escapability and pocket presence that the young signal caller showed. For Miami, look, the defense struggled to make stops, but they did what good teams do. They made the stops when it matters, late in the game. Once again, Jerome Baker, who's just honestly Pro Bowl this year. I mean, give him that guy some love. He led the team again in tackles with 7. Emmanuel Ogbah, another potential Pro Bowler, had the huge sack fumble at the start of the game, which was returned for a touchdown by Shaq Lawson. That's 2 free agent pickups there that clearly are paying off. The corners were solid and managed to contain DeAndre Hopkins, which was pivotal in securing the win. Once again, Flores showing he can game plan. At the start, I won't lie to you, I was under the impression that the Dolphins would likely match up Byron Jones just because as an athlete, I feel like he would be able to kind of stay step for step with DeAndre Hopkins, but it appears Flores felt Xavier's physicality was something that would throw him off a bit more, and frankly, it ended up working. I think there was a period after the 4 pass interference calls, which, we don't need to get into. Twitter's abuzz on that. Look, the game was horribly officiated. It went both ways. I think it went worse for Miami. I mean, if you look at some of the calls that were made, the ruling on the field of a touchdown for that pass that Byron Jones almost intercepted, that should have been reviewed, and the fact that it was ruled a touchdown kind of made it difficult to challenge or contest anything. I just don't think that's something that you can call right then. I think you have to call it an incomplete pass because, how can you justify he has control when another person is holding the ball? Now, if he didn't fall out of bounds and he got up in the end zone, that's a touchdown, 50-50. It goes to the offense. But that's not what happened. He fell out of bounds. But whatever, officiating, suspect. But at least it was suspect all around. And Flores was able to make those adjustments. Later in the game, we did see Byron Jones go up on DeAndre Hopkins, just sort of to keep up because we just didn't want them to take that big shot. And Byron Jones is someone who would be able to keep up a lot better than Xavier Howard. Offensively, Miami once again struggled to establish the running game. This is something that, of all the things that we saw yesterday, is the only concern, really. Again, just going back to the defense, they were able to stop the run. They were playing against the most dynamic quarterback in the NFL. I think that's fair to say. Lamar, he might be a better runner, but he's not even in the same class when it comes to throwing the football as Kyler Murray. So, you can't really stop him. So that's why I don't really blame the defense. And like I said at the top, good teams find ways to win. And so even though Kyler roasted a lot of the defense and kind of made them, get shake and bake, and boom, he's gone for 10 yards further than if it was a regular runner. That's not something that we can really ask the Dolphins to do. I mean, Kyler's, they're the number 1 offense in the NFL. And look, in the way the league is now, if you're the number 1 offense, you're going to get some calls your way. You're going to get some pass interferences to, keep drives going. So the defense did what they needed to do. But offensively, not being able to establish the run, that's going to come back to bite them. The defense is going to bounce back. Tua showed some things, which, again, we're going to get into. But the running game needs to pick up. I understand Matt Breida is out with a hamstring. Miles Gaskin out for a couple more weeks with that sprained MCL. But they need to be able to find a way to not just find a running back. They need to be able to find, an identity in the run game. There appeared to be something brewing with Miles Gaskin, sort of, out of the shotgun from the pistol formation, but that's something that fits his style of running better. Having Jordan Howard in there, he just doesn't fit the scheme. I love Jordan Howard. I love the signing. I thought it was kind of alluding to potentially more of a play action type offense, not a spread the field out type offense. So at the time of the signing, I was definitely optimistic on it, but he was given a chance to carry the load. He had been, a healthy scratch for a few weeks. If he was going to be motivated, it was yesterday, and he carried the ball 10 times, and he only had 19 yards. He did have a touchdown, but, I believe that brings him up to 4 touchdowns on the season. So he's productive, in short yardage situations, which is why I still think he's valuable. But in terms of long sustained drives, his inability to be a factor in the passing game, and just inconsistent, in the running game, that's something that, we need to keep an eye on. The thing with Jordan Howard and backs like him, if you remember Jay Ajayi, I would say he's kind of a back like him. These are running backs that wear down defenses. They're not running backs that you sparsely throughout the game give a couple handoffs. He needs to feel the game. He needs to know how his offensive line's blocking, how, tendencies of the defensive line, sort of use his brain and his vision, as well as the experience and the rhythm of the game as it goes, to eventually wear it down. So in the second half, if he's gotten 20 carries at that point, and the last 10 carries of that, third, fourth quarter, he's going to be able to rip off some 8-yard runs, 15-yard runs, and maybe get that one breakaway down the field. But that's the type of running back he is. This offense doesn't need that type of running back. And so that was a little disappointing to see. But Savon Ahmed was a nice revelation. Expect him to get more carries as he fits the way Miami wants to run their offense. Similar, he was Myles Gaskin's backup, and I think he definitely fits more. And look, it was his first NFL game, and he came out. His first run was a first down, 8-yard run. He had that nice, I believe, 22-yard run, going up the middle and then bouncing out to the left for a first down. So he definitely showed some nice things. He managed 38 yards on 7 carries with a 5.4 yards per carry average, more than Jordan Howard's sub 2 yards per carry. Receiving, Devontae Parker led the team with 6 receptions for 64 yards. That title likely was going to go to Preston Williams, but he did get injured. Williams finished the game with 4 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Now something I saw on social media, and actually you can go back and watch the TV copy or just highlights on YouTube. I think Christian Wilkins injured him. Now, I love Christian Wilkins so much. I think him being drafted as the first pick in this era of the Flores-Greer era kind of says a lot. Humble, hardworking, having fun with it. I think he's a great sort of leader going forward for this team. And every time the offense scores, he's the first one there. And that once again happened. I initially thought Williams injured himself based on how he got tackled. That was an awkward way. He jumped in the air. His leg got grabbed and twisted a little bit. So I was like, okay, something must have happened there. I was worried for his knee, honestly, initially. But then watching it again, I realized, no, he popped right up and started dancing. He was having a good time. And then on the TV copy, you see Christian Wilkins do what he does all the time, which is jump on the guy who scored the touchdown, jump on top of him. And he's a big man. He's a big man, and I don't know the way Preston was standing. Maybe he didn't have a lot of support on, in that moment in time. There, his foot kind of got sprained, because you see after Christian Wilkins lands, Preston Williams starts kind of limping. So if this is a significant injury, if Preston Williams is going to be out for more than a week or two, that's just a frustrating, unfortunate thing to happen. I don't want Christian Wilkins to stop celebrating, but maybe just, don't jump over people like you do all the time. You can celebrate by, patting him on the helmet, chest bump, push him to the ground. But I think jumping on top with how big you are, expect Flores to have a conversation like that this week. All right. Tua Tagovailoa, number 1, the 5th overall pick out of Alabama, originally from Hawaii. Oh my, did he come to play yesterday. We needed every completion. Every yard he managed to get was needed. Every time he rushed the ball, it was needed. You were playing against Kyler Murray, which we have discussed at length so far, and you needed an offensive performance. That was the biggest concern. I felt going into this game, if Tua was what we all said he was going to be, or felt he could be, he needed to show out. I know it's a second game, but at this stage, the way the NFL works now, you need to be able to show competency, at least show some flashes. I did not expect the Dolphins to win this game. I didn't think the defense would be able to contain as and they didn't contain, but I didn't think the offense would be able to match. Tua finished with 20 of 28 passing, 248 yards, and 2 passing touchdowns. And once again, for the second week in a row, no interceptions. He had that close call there earlier, but no interceptions. He also rushed 7 times for 38 yards. So he did show that, there's no mental gap, no mental block or fear there. He'll take it and run if he needs to. Honestly, he just showed so much in this game. Last week, national media maligned him, even local reporters and some fans, just felt like he was, what he showed was a little concerning. He didn't really show them what everyone said he was capable of doing. If you go back and listen to, the episode following the Rams game, we talked about this then. Those who actually watched the game and analyzed how Tua played in context, understanding how the game played out, what was being asked of him, where Miami was in their game plan at that point in time, that we just knew that it was an unfair take to say he played poorly. I don't think he played excellently against the Rams. He played well. He did everything he needed to do, but yesterday, no, he played. He had an excellent game. He played with confidence, poise, composure. He knew where to go with the ball. He looked like a veteran. He looked like a veteran quarterback, overall with his demeanor. Like, I was watching the game with a friend, and he isn't a Dolphins fan, but sort of early on in the game, there was a time he kind of reacted to, getting a defensive player to, enter the neutral zone. And the way he celebrated, when he'd run for a first down, get up, he just looked like the leader of the offense. That's something you like to see. He didn't look timid. He didn't look like, he didn't look that high. I mean, he's a humble guy, but on the field, nah, he looks confident. And like I said, poise. I know that's a buzzword. A lot of times people say it, but really what poise means is that when there's a high pressure situation, when things are on the line, is your head in the right spot? Are you making the right decisions? Are you playing to the ability you can? And he did. He really did look like the leader of the offense, and he played like it too. He went toe-to-toe with Kyler, drive for drive. This game was so entertaining. It was so fun to watch. I mean, obviously, if Arizona had pulled out the victory, I still would think Tua showed a lot of good, and I would still feel very good about where the team is. But the fact that Miami pulled out the win was just a cherry on top and really fruitful going forward. So, when it counted in the game, Tua showed up when he needed to make the drive, when he needed to make the throws. I think back to those plays, 3rd and 7, backed up within your own 10-yard line. I believe this was on the 93-yard touchdown drive. How many times have we seen, run, wait for Tannehill to try to make a 9-yard, incomplete, now you're punting out of your own end zone, and that's how you lose the game. That's not what happened. You're just kind of, it's trained in you as an adult. You're like, this was a good game, well played, but maybe next week, maybe later. But no, he hit Devontae Parker perfectly, moving the chains, kept it going in the red zone. 3rd and 7, at the 15-yard line, can still get a first down without a touchdown, but that's going to be tough. How many times Fitz just kind of launches a pass in the middle of the end zone, a little too high to Gesicki, 4th down, field goal. No, he took the underneath. Right, the exact yardage we need, let his playmaker, Preston Williams, make a play. And he did and scored the touchdown. So the other thing, on top of everything else, it was his second game. So his performance should only, and just his overall comfortability in the offense should be going up from here. The touchdown pass to Matt Collins was just a dime. His connection with Devontae Parker seems to be growing more and more, and that's something we did talk about. If you go back and read that article from a week ago, he definitely showed that Devontae is definitely someone he trusts. And going forward with the Preston injury, I think it's important that Miami continue to do that. The Matt Collins touchdown pass, that it would have, if he didn't catch it, that would have been harder, honestly, because Tua put that exact right above the helmet of the defender. Right above the helmet, Max just kind of had to lay his hands out there and accept the ball as if it was being handed to him. And then again, he made a great play with his feet and maintaining possession. Great, but that throw was awesome. And also great, Matt Collins' first catch as a Dolphin goes for a touchdown. I like that. Gesicki also got in the mix, which was great to see. He seems to be like he's being used as a receiver. He's not a tight end. Saw a lot of Durham Smythe and Adam Shaheen again. And when we did see Gesicki, it was kind of lined up in the slot, so occasionally on the outside, running those intermediate routes. And clearly Tua has confidence in him as he found him a few times in the game. And then Jakeem Grant, that's who I was most excited to see. He finished the game with 4 catches for 35 yards. He had a huge 9-yard reception, which unfortunately put it to 4th and 1, but moved the ball up so that Jason Sanders could hit the go-ahead field goal, 50-yard field goal to take the lead. And look, the fact that he moved the ball around, he made Matt Collins a relevant player again. I mean, he's a great special teamer, but as a receiver, didn't work in Philly. I wasn't really thinking he was going to step up, but with the injuries, with the COVID situation, the fact that Tua was able to sort of make him help him make a play says a lot about Tua. That's a sign of a potentially great and, dare I say, elite quarterback. You make those around you better. Guys like Matt Collins, Durham Smythe, they have been in the league for years. But if you have an accurate and playmaking quarterback who can get them involved, then all of a sudden they become more than just sort of guys. They become contributors. It's really refreshing to see, really exciting. And again, Miami is now 5-3, and they trail the 7-2 Bills for the AFC East division lead. But the team is in the thick of the playoff mix. Currently, the Dolphins hold the 7th seed, so they are in the playoffs as of now, showing that halfway through the season, everything's in front of them. They control the season. They control their fate. So next up, the team's going to be playing the Los Angeles Chargers. Ooh, I'm excited for that game. Justin Herbert versus Tua. The quarterback matchups coming up in the next 8 weeks are going to be really fun. Obviously, it's nice to have Tua as our quarterback, considering what he showed on Sunday. But Justin Herbert has been balling out as well. He has been exceeding expectations. If you're interested in sort of what we here at PhinsPod assessed with these quarterbacks, there's an episode, I believe it's episode 2, sort of discussing the draft class. And listen, a lot of people thought Herbert was boom or bust. I thought he was capable of being a consistent performer. I think he's boomed. I didn't expect this. I don't think anyone really expected this. The highest hope I had for him was he's going to need some time to adapt to an NFL offense because of the wild offense he ran at Oregon, which clearly now we can see was limiting his skills and his talent. So he's come to a team that focuses on the running game, spreads out the receivers, spreads the ball around, gives him sort of easy pitch and catch throws, and also utilizes his arm strength to sort of run routes that corners don't feel the quarterback will. It's tougher to defend routes, on the outside, intermediate, because you also have to cover the middle of the field. And Herbert's, if you're, as a corner, as a safety, if you make a commitment one way or the other, I'm going to take the outside guy, he'll sling it in there with that arm and get 15 yards right in the middle of the field. Or if you do make that commitment, all right, I'm going to take away the tight end in the middle, or Mike Williams running across the middle, all right, well, here's Keenan Allen on a perfect corner route right at the sideline. So Herbert is, I think he's gonna look, and he's a reason to play hard. I mean, months ago the Dolphins could have taken him. They chose Tua. Now, again, as fans of the Miami Dolphins, it's pretty easy to be pleased with it right now, this morning, this afternoon, whenever it is you are listening. But Herbert, I mean, in his head, if he is the competitive guy the Chargers want to see, he should have a chip on his shoulder. He should come in and try to make the Dolphins pay. And look, I want to win this game more than anything, but it wouldn't be bad to see a competitive performance. Although, look, I don't think Justin Herbert's ever faced a look like the cover zero defense that Miami's starting to really adopt and run with. And although he is mobile, he isn't Kyler Murray. So I think Miami's going to, expect a performance in between. I mean, to be fair, it's really two extremes. But expect a performance in between the Rams and then as well as the Cardinals. Like I said, two extremes. But he's going to be able to get, make some plays with his legs, extend some drives, but not to the degree if Miami's able to get the initial pressure, which they showed they could still do with Kyler. If they're able to get that initial pressure, then I do believe that he will be hit and sort of thrown off his rhythm a little bit. And don't worry, we're going to have an episode later this week discussing the matchup in a little more detail. So make sure to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I think both of these players are going to win the MVP of the NFL at some point. In one game, I could see that, how special it was. But I want to say sorry to the Dolphins organization. I apologize, because when you guys made the move from Fitzy, I was like, whoa. Tua should not be playing right now. He's not healthy enough. That offensive line's not playing well enough. Don't go ruin him. I was wrong. You guys knew exactly what you were doing. This kid is absolutely ready to go deal in the NFL, because that's what it looked like yesterday, dealing. You talk about subtle pocket movement. You talk about the suddenness in where he needs to be, the ball placement, getting the ball out on time, distributing. And that throw right there, that 3rd and 9 throw right there to Devontae Parker, that ball's on that shoulder, out on time. I was wrong, Dolphins. You knew exactly what you were doing. Tua is 100% ready to be your starting quarterback into the playoffs.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. That'll do it for us here. Enjoy this win. It was big for the franchise. Not only did Miami pull off their 4th win in a row, taking them to 5-3, but the team is relevant, and the best is yet to come. And when I say relevant, I'm not talking about being on First Take, being on, the herd. Who cares? Who really cares? The Cowboys will always be there, even though they suck. The Patriots will be talked about until they're really buried, so maybe another year or two. It's relevant in the NFL, in terms of competition. In terms of any matchup, any given Sunday, yes, you can lose, but you can win any game. There are the upper echelon teams. If you look at the Seahawks, Miami played them toe-to-toe, and I think if you play that game now, it's something that Miami might be able to potentially win if they were to rematch, because the team, again, that was earlier in the season, defense was still figuring things out, and also, some interceptions were thrown by Mr. Fitzmagic. But thank you again for tuning in for this episode of the PhinsPod, and as always, I really hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe to the show. Leave a review if you can. It really does help. But subscribe wherever it is that you listen. Never miss a chance to chat about your favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. And again, the show's available on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Continue the conversation on Twitter and Instagram with us at PhinsPod, and check out the site for news and content. That, again, is phinspod.com. I hope you have an amazing day, and until next time, stay safe. Love y'all.